So this is actually going to be a different video. Uh, yeah, than what I would typically do. Typically, I do gameplay videos and stuff like that. But in this case, it's sort of like talking about sort of why did it take me forever to buy a Switch, and sort of what games am I looking at buying for the Switch and stuff like that. And the main reason is why it took me forever to get a Switch. There was a few different reasons. Primarily, the first one was financial. Due to budgets at that point, I wasn't working. I did have a job for about 2 days doing landscaping. And you might be thinking, oh, only 2 days, you must have sucked. That's all they needed me for, was just 2 days of help. So I could have bought one at the end of those 2 days, just obviously didn't hear back from, obviously, parents. It is what it is. So I left it alone. And at that point in 2017, they were very, very hard to get a hold of. Even if you could get one, you might not be in luck. So I decided to hold off and just wait until I could get a hold of one. And the main thing for me was having a job before I buy any of this hardware. Like, for example, my 3D printer, and a bunch of other stuff as well. So, oops, wrong button. I'm still getting used to the Switch controller, which is this thing. And so I wanted to have a job first before I buy any of this hardware. I keep hitting the back instead of the A button. Like I said, I'm so used to the Xbox One One controller, or even PS4 controller, because I've used those controllers for years. So yeah, so the main thing is for me was I wanted to have a job first. Luckily enough, I did end up getting a job, hence why I have a Switch, finally. The other reason why it took me forever was primarily, like I said, no job. I wanted to have a job before I buy the hardware. And so you might be wondering, like, what sort of Switch games do I have physical? I only have two. I have Minecraft and Pokemon Violet for the Switch at the moment, but I am looking at getting another one. Give me a second to grab the two. Like I said, Minecraft, I own this game, or have owned this game, like 7 times in the last, like, decade. I've owned it on, let's see if I can recount all the systems I own this game on, or did own it in some cases. So I own it on mobile, I own it on my tablet, so my phone, my tablet, 3DS. I used to own it on the 3DS back in the day. PS3, PC twice due to Java Edition and Windows 10. 360, PS4, Xbox One, PS3. So yeah, there's like 7 or 8 game copies right there. And like I said, Pokemon Violet, which I do need to do another video on. Yeah, so first Pokemon game I played since Sun and Moon, actually. So, been a few years. And sort of like, why did I buy a Switch? Well, I'm lucky and very, very fortunate to have the hardware I do. And like, for example, like, I still have my original Nintendo Wii from 2006. Give me a second to grab that guy. Original Wii with an official memory card for GameCube games. And you might be wondering, what is this thing for? So this takes the proprietary input for it and converts it to HDMI. Because everything that I use for recording is HDMI, so I needed to go to HDMI for this guy. So yeah, so that's an original one that I've had since 2006. I believe it was 2006. Let me check. Yep, 2006. So this is the first Nintendo system I owned. Wait. That's a lie. The first Nintendo system I owned was the Game Boy Color. But first, shall we say, home console that wasn't a portable was that guy. So I'm lucky and obviously very fortunate to have the hardware I do, even though it has been a few years to get all this hardware. The 360 was an odd one because the 360 I used for about 9 months wasn't actually mine. I borrowed it from someone from high school, and they obviously needed it back. So I literally found the 360 I have now, like, in 3 days. Like, he messaged me on, I think, a Wednesday, and I picked up that one on a Thursday, and I dropped off back to him on Friday. So, very, very quick, short notice, was able to find a 360. It was a little expensive. It was a 4 gig system for, I think, $80. But that's with tax, by the way. So, a little pricey, but it was worth it. I love having the 360. I have a decent collection of 360 games behind me. I do need to go back and finish a lot of them, like MW3, Minecraft. I need to go back and finish. Lollipop Chainsaw. I need to go back and finish. A lot of that sort of stuff I need to go back and finish. Let me know down in the comments below what 360 game you want me to play through. I do have Alice Madness Returns. Finally, that is a digital version, so I can play it on either Xbox One or Xbox 360 or Xbox One. Tongue twister. As of recording, it's just after 11 o'clock, and I am tired. I have worked pretty much a full day, around 5 hours, so a little tired. Yeah, so in terms of the Switch, so like I said, I bought the Switch actually in July while I was out west. It just so happened I was out there and it made sense for me to buy it while I was out there. Again, financial sense, because of taxes and stuff out there is different than where I live in Ontario. So it made sense. It was still expensive. I was originally looking at getting the original one that came out in 2017, but thinking of it at that point, I'm like, fine. Like I basically ended up buying the OLED, which ended up being the Tears of the Kingdom edition, which is this design. I like it. Do I regret going with the OLED? No, I don't, but it is what it is. I still do have the box for it. It is under stored under my bed. Same with the PS4 box. So yeah. So, but in terms of the games for for Switch, I'm not looking at a lot of Switch games. Mostly first party stuff. So, Pokemon, Zelda, Metroid, that sort of stuff. Granted, I did buy Pokemon, Minecraft, just because I like having Minecraft on pretty much every system, which comes into effect probably Friday. Yeah, probably Friday. I'm probably going to be starting a challenge. I'm not sure if I'm going to be streaming it or if I'm going to be recording it. I'm not sure. I haven't made up my mind yet. But yeah, the big game that I am looking at for Switch is, let me just pull it up here. I actually need to go to Amazon here to pull it, because it is quite it is quite expensive. Over we're talking over $230 with tax and stuff like that. Like, it is not cheap. Part of me is, depending on sort of what budgets look like at the end of this week, potentially next week, if budgets don't work out this week but do next week and the game is still available, I'm just going to probably buy it. It is stupidly expensive. It's Super Mario 3D All-Stars, which is Super Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and Mario Galaxy. I believe they were all launch games for their respective systems. So Super Mario 64 was N64, Sunshine was GameCube, and Galaxy was for the Wii, which, as you can see, is still sitting behind me for right now. I believe. Oh, give me a second here. What was the? Super Mario 64. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, Super Mario 64 was a launch game for N64, and that means uh uh I can't spell tonight. There you go. I believe. Oh, okay. So Mario Sunshine was not a launch title. Okay. Pro Skater 3 was Crazy Taxi, which was also on 360, if I remember correctly. I believe it was also on 360. Am I right on that? PS3, yeah, it was on 360. So part of me is thinking I should just buy it, but I want to make sure I have the budget to do it. Keep in mind, like, if I do buy this game, it would be the most expensive game I own, not just on Switch, but in my entire collection. Like, I have a couple Pro editions for Call of Duty. I have I'm just trying to see if I can see them right now. Nope, I can't see them. Black Ops 4 is a Pro Edition. Infinite Warfare is a Pro Edition. I think World War II might be a Pro Edition. Modern Warfare 2019 is a Pro Edition. So, like, I own a few very expensive, like, Call of Duty games, which were all over $100. Black Ops 4 was, like, over $150. I think that was, like, $160 or something. This is over $230, with tax for 3D All-Stars. And my brain right now is sort of conflicted, because part of me is thinking, I should have just bought it when it was available physically at a cheaper price rather than potentially spending almost $240 on it. But I didn't know when I was going to get a Switch, and it would just take up space, and it would have been sort of a waste of money. But now, looking at the price, it's like, I should have just done it. And you might be thinking, oh, why don't you just buy digital? It's actually no longer available. It is literally no longer available digitally. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah, so this is, yeah, as of March 31st, 2021, you can't buy it digitally. So, yeah, that's why I am looking at buying it. But I also know that I don't want to really spend the money. So basically, if you guys really want me to play it on the channel, I will yeah, so it was released September 18th of 2020, and it was available until March 31st of 2021, when it was discontinued and removed from the Nintendo eShop. So it is expensive, like I said. We're talking $230 plus tax, and that's with tax, by the way. So if you guys really want me to play it on the channel, I will buy it. And I might still just end up buying it anyways, even at the crazy price, just because I know that game is going to go up in value. It's not going to be cheap. I know that. And you might be thinking, oh, why don't you just look at, like, retro stores? Retro stores, there's one in Toronto that I know of, and that's pretty much where I got my entire 360 collection that's sitting behind me. They don't even have copies. And even if they did, you're looking at 160 plus shipping and tax. So I would be looking at probably close to 200 if I get it through the retro store that I know of. So it would actually be cheaper, ironically, for me to buy it through or buy it from Amazon than it would be if I go through the retro store. So you might be thinking, like, what other games are you looking at? I'm looking at oh god, my brain's gone right now. I actually have a whole wish list. If I do this, I can do it this way. For some reason, it always puts me in the U.S. even though I live in Canada. Here it is, wish list. So I'm looking at Gloomhaven, Horizon Chase 2, Fatal 12, Mask of Rose, Death Smiles 1 and 2, Flutter Away, Final Fantasy 1 to 6, Pala, which is very similar to like a Stardew Valley sort of thing. Luigi's Mansion 3, Paper Mario, The Origami King, Super Mario RPG, Pokemon Violet, The Hidden Treasure of Area Zero, Little Noah, Persona 5 Royal. And the funny thing about Persona 5 Royal, I own an original version of it for PS3. Not Royal, but like the standard version of Persona 5. Convergence, a League of Legends story, Witcher 3. And the reason why I'm looking at Witcher 3 is I do own it on PC, but I want to see how it would compare from PC to handheld. Stardew, Neo, The World Ends With You, Among Us, Metroid Prime Remastered, Metroid Dread, Pokemon Sword plus the expansion and or Shield expansion, Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu, one of those two, No Man's Sky, Disney Dreamlight Valley. And you might be wondering, like, you haven't bought that yet? No, because it's going to be free eventually this year, at some point this year, according to the developers. Chick Roy, A Colorful Tale, Portal Companion Collection, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and Bravely Default 2 is what I'm looking at. And this is everything that's on the wish list. That I have so far. I know there's more. I always look at games and stuff like that. So yeah, like pretty much what I want to use the Switch for is different than how I use the PS3. Well, or what I should say PS4. I should say, excuse me. Where I use the PS4 for mostly everything else, like PS4 games, obviously, like games that aren't just exclusives, basically. Same with 360, Xbox One, PC, obviously. Whereas with the Switch, I want to keep it more first party, like exclusive. So like Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, I'm trying to think of other ones. I know there's more, but those are the ones that come to my brain at this point. So it's like that sort of stuff. Metroid, for example, is another one. Where I can't just get those on other hardware. So it is what it is. Like I said, Mario 3D All Stars is going to be expensive. Is it going to be worth it? It's up to you guys. Like I said, if you guys really want me to do it, I will play it on the channel. I'm going to buy it regardless because I know that game is going to go up in value. Ironically, that game is going to cost almost half of what I paid for the system. Give me a second here. This is... So, just grab the receipt for the Switch. So, just the Switch alone, right, was just under $500 just for the system, right? So if I do some quick math here, and we do yeah, it's a difference of about $260. So, yeah, this is not a cheap game. Yeah, it was not a cheap game, or sorry, cheap system. But it was a special edition, which I never buy special editions. But that was the only Switch that they had in the OLED variant, which is fine. But it is what it is. So, yeah, like I said, I know the game's going to be expensive. I know it's going to be worth it eventually, just to buy it now, because that price is just going to go straight up. And you might be wondering, like, do I regret not buying it when I had the chance? A little bit, because, like, now I have a Switch, right? But when the game came out, I didn't have one, right? So it would have been a bit of a waste of, let's say, $60, $70, whatever it was, at launch, rather than the $200 that's going to cost me now. Over $200 now. That's hard, because part of me is thinking, yeah, it would have been worth it for me just to buy it and hang on to it. But on the flip side of it, I wouldn't have been able to play it, right? I like to buy games that I actually want to play right away. Yes, there have been some cases where it has taken me a little longer to get a hold of games, primarily for 360. Lollipop Chainsaw took me a while to get a hold of. I think that game took me like 6 months to find for 360. I could find it all day long for PS3. Getting it for 360, difficult. Deadpool, again, was one of those games that I had trouble getting a hold of, but I did end up finding it pretty quickly. I think that only took about a week or so to get a hold of. Again, I should have just bought it when I had the chance for 360. Yeah, like, I have a very expensive game in my 360 collection, and that's the Simpsons game, and that one was about $50. This, if I buy this game, let's say tomorrow or something like that, I know it won't be tomorrow, but I know it will potentially be this week, it would be more expensive than that, by like almost around double the price. So actually, let me do the math right now. So 230, nope, 234.99 minus 50, because that was what, yeah. So it's going to be about a difference of like almost $200. $185 difference. Yeah. That's how expensive this Switch game is. And the funny thing is, I can buy oops. I can buy I can buy Mario Sunshine for GameCube, because the Wii can play it, but I'm paying like $66 for the game, which is not bad. If I want, let's say Mario Galaxy, oops, I'm paying about $63, so I'm paying about over $120 for those two games, right? So it might actually be worth it to get the collection, because if I do Mario or Super Mario 64, I'm looking at like $40. So and that's card only. Like, if I go to the retro store that I know of, and I go down that route, right? Super 64. I'm looking at between, yeah, like I'm looking at like minimum $70 just for the game. Like 59 just for the game with no label, not mint, meaning like scratches and stuff like that. I'm looking at 65, and then game only I'm looking at like 70 plus shipping. Yeah, like if I want, let's say 3D All-Stars, right, and I go through my normal retro store that I know of back in Toronto, oops, there you go. I'm looking at even the PAL import, right? I'm looking at minimum 170, right? And it's sold out. If I look at the North American version, sold out 170 as well. So it would ironically make sense, even though I know it's going to be expensive as hell. But it is one of those games that I want to get a hold of before it gets even crazier expensive. And I'm also not going to be I know in the next little bit, I know I'm not going to be earning money in the next little bit come end of October. So what I should do is I should look at buying it now, even with its stupid $200 price. Before it gets even more expensive and I can't even afford it, right? It would make sense, even though, like I said, it is going to be the most expensive game I own, not just on Switch, but in general. It would actually be more expensive than my than some actual hardware, like my 360. I paid, like I said, I paid $80 for. My Xbox One, I paid $25 for because I traded it off an original PS4. So yeah, so, and you're probably saying like, why didn't you get a Switch like during COVID? Um, I could have, but I knew it was going to cost me a heck of a lot more than what a PS4 would have costed me. I think the PS4 was just around 4. And the Switch would have been around just over 5. So yeah, so it made sense at that point to buy the PS4, because I had games already on it digitally, whereas the Switch I would have had to have bought at least one game to make it worthwhile. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to be buying a lot of games for the Switch. It just means I have to just pick and choose what games I want on the Switch versus PS4, Xbox One, PC, that sort of stuff. Primarily the Switch for me is primarily going to be used for exclusives like Mario stuff, Metroid, Zelda eventually, Pokemon for sure, that sort of stuff. And you might be wondering, like, will I upgrade to the new Switch 2 or Switch Pro or whatever the heck they want to call it? No, I'm not. Unless there's a pretty good deal on trade. So if I get, let's say, $260, $270 off the new one, then I probably would consider. But other than that, no, I'm not going to trade it off. I literally just bought it. Like, if you were going to buy it now, as of September 20th, yeah. I'm going through EB Games just because that's local to where I live. And we go with the Switch OLED white. You're looking at $449. So $450. Is that what I... No, this was actually more expensive. Yeah, right. This one was more expensive. This one was $470. And ironically, you can't even get the Zelda one anymore, at least through EB Games. You might still be able to do it through Best Buy. You might still be able to do it through Best Buy, though. Oh, of course, I've done it in French. There you go. No Switch OLED. Yeah, you're looking at 470. So yeah. So God damn it, I have a gnat that's just buzzing around my head right now. So yeah, so if you do want the Switch that I have, which is the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, you can get it from Best Buy for about $470 Canadian. At least that's what it costs here in Ontario. I'm not sure about other areas. I know that's what it was for me, even buying it where I did. Um, so yeah, so like I said, primarily the Switch for me is exclusives. Um, unless like I do come across a game that I already own, but it's cheap enough that it makes sense. Like for example, I think Minecraft was about $23. I think. Give me a second to check that. Uh, nope, about $30. Um, yeah, about $30. Um, for the game, which is around what it is actually. When I bought it for PC almost a decade ago, I paid something like $18 for it, 18 $20 for it or something like that. I paid like decent, like I paid it, I bought it for like cheap on PC. Now if you want it, you're looking at, I can tell you, get it. Windows and Linux. You're looking at 29.99, which includes the Java edition and the Bedrock edition, which is Windows 10. Which it used to not include Bedrock. I think Bedrock was its own separate separate thing. But since Microsoft acquired Mojang, the creators of Minecraft, they ended up bundling it together. So, yeah. So, like I said, I decided to pick up Minecraft just because why not? It was the cheapest game I was looking at the day that I bought it. And it's also fun just to have it on another system because I can earn achievements for it as well on that system. So yeah, so like I said, I am really looking at buying 3D All Stars. I know it's going to be expensive as hell, but if I don't buy it when I have the opportunity, I'm going to regret it. And when I do have another opportunity to buy it, I might not be in a, shall we say, a good financial situation. Whereas right now I'm in a decent, well, I shouldn't say decent, I'm in an okay financial spot. Like, I'm not struggling and stuff like that. But I know it's going to be expensive as hell. And again, excuse my language. I know it's going to be expensive, but if I don't buy it now, I'm going to regret it. And I don't want to regret it because of financials. I have had that situation before with games, primarily on GameCube. Like, I've had Metroid Prime and Prime 2 get away from me due to price. They're all over $100 now, or around $100. I think Prime 2 is like $130 or something like that. I think Prime is like $110 or something like that. It's crazy. So I know the Mario games just hold their value. Same with Pokemon. Any first party Switch game or GameCube game, I guess, in some cases, hold value. So, yeah, I'm hoping to grab it, like I said, this week if I can. If not this week, then definitely next week. Um, because I definitely want to get it before the price goes up even more and I don't have the job that I have right now. Because right now I have just over a month left. Literally, just over a month left. And which means I definitely at that point have to budget games and stuff like that and hardware and stuff. So if I want to do it, I have to do it as quick as I can, even though it's going to suck financially, obviously, because I don't want to spend that money on that one game. But if I don't do it, I'm just going to regret it, and I might not have another chance to get it. So yeah. And you're probably saying, oh, why don't you just buy the game separately? Well, the problem is that means then I would have to buy hardware. For example, Super Mario 64, I don't have an N64, right? So I would have to buy that hardware, and I don't even know what an N64 costs nowadays. It's like, if I go back to the retro store, right, and I do consoles, I do Nintendo 64, we're looking at like $130 to $140, right? So the game itself is worth more on Switch than an actual N64 is. So it is one of those things where it is one of the things that I do want to do, but it's just, if you guys want me to play it on the channel, I will play it on the channel once I get a hold of it. But like I said, it is definitely going to be the most expensive game I own, and if I do end up buying it. And again, I have no idea when I would have a chance to play it. So let's say, hypothetically, let's say I order it, let's say tomorrow. I would have it by, I would probably, if I order it tomorrow, I'd have it probably by like Sunday or Monday of next week. Which means I could probably start doing videos sometime next week with it. So yeah, there's that. So it's just unfortunate that it has been discontinued by Nintendo. I've never seen that happen with, after a very, very short amount of time, a game being discontinued digitally. I've always seen it happen after a little bit of time due to licensing issues, like Deadpool, Lego Hobbit, stuff like that, due to licensing issues. But never just because of a 30th anniversary or some sort of anniversary edition being completely discontinued after like 6 months or something. Like, I've never seen that. So it is annoying. And definitely at the price as well. Because that definitely blocks a lot of people younger people, and even myself in a sense, that might want to be able to play the games because they didn't play them when they were younger or didn't have the opportunity to play them when they were younger. So it definitely sucks that the price is as high as it is now. Like, I was thinking, okay, it would probably be 80, maybe 90 at most. Nope, almost 200. So it is what it is. If I do get it, I'll be sure to make a follow-up video or comment or something like that in a future video, or stream if I end up streaming something this weekend. I do also want to apologize for the lack of streams as well over the last couple weeks. So basically, the way that the streams work is I have a buddy who I stream with, and we basically work around my schedule and her schedule as well. So, like, there was one weekend where she had stuff on that came up late. Then there's a weekend that I had stuff that come up late. And then one weekend I was rebuilding my original computer. I was hoping to get it done by like 9:30. Got it done by 10:30. So I was like, let's just move it to next week. And then she had some stuff on, so I thought, okay, let's just move it to this week. And so basically, because I'm working, right? So I don't know from week to week my schedule. Like, I typically get my schedule Sunday night. So in theory, I should be working Sunday. Potentially, I might have it off. I'm still not 100% sure on that. I do need to check that tomorrow when I'm in at work. So that's basically how the streams work. Is we basically work around my schedule, unfortunately, which definitely sucks. But she knows that I don't have a lot of time left in terms of the work season. I only have just over a month left. So, which means a lot more content. I'll be hitting the content hard come, in theory, the 29th of October. So that will be a full recap from end of May till that day of work, or whatever my last day of work would be. Then the Monday would be a 7-year anniversary YouTube stream. I'm still just deciding what game to play. Maybe some Pokemon, maybe some Mario stuff. And also toying with the idea of just streaming directly to YouTube so that I don't have to do any editing or anything for if I pull it from Twitch or something. And then on Tuesday the 31st, I would probably do maybe like a horror game or something, considering it's Halloween. So maybe like Last of Us or something like that, Last of Us Part 2 or something like that, some sort of horror game. Even if you consider... Do they even consider Last of Us horror? Let me see. Do they even consider it? Do they even consider it? PS4. Do they even consider it horror? Let me see. Okay, so they consider it action adventure. Okay. Okay. So I might do something like that for Halloween, and then do pretty much a month of content, all in November and December. But I will be taking a few days off in December. Not a lot of days. I typically don't take a lot of days anyways. Like, what I've done in the past is I've taken pretty much a week off in December. So like the last stream would technically be like the 22nd. And then I'd probably take about, sorry, typically that would be the last stream would be like the 22nd, but this year I'm going to be going to the 23rd and taking 2 days off, the 24th, 25th off, and then I'm going to be basically doing content from the 26th all through the new year. And that's even including if I have a job. I'll still be doing content even after work and stuff like that. So yeah. So anyways, no, this video has to go up. So yeah, I did end up also replacing my light, so it's a little bit brighter. I still do need to get a better webcam that actually has sort of like a ring light on it or something. Hence why I have my. Ooh, that's actually kind of warm actually. I'm trying to sort of get some better lighting. That's not bad actually. But yeah, so it is what it is with in terms of 3D All Stars. It sucks that it is at the price that it is. But like I said, I'm hoping to pick it up this week or next week. It just depends on if I get paid this week. If I get paid this week, then yes, I'll pick it up this week. Probably Friday or something like that. No, probably Saturday night, late Saturday night, maybe even, late Friday night or sometimes Saturday. And then I would have it sometime in the next week. Probably midweek, I would say, probably. So if I order it, let's say Friday, I would probably get it probably Sunday or Monday, I would say, but probably like Tuesday, I would say, maybe Wednesday at most. So midweek, next week. But again, it just depends on if I get paid this week. So, like I said, the Switch for me is primarily used for, or will be used for exclusives, unless I can pick up some other stuff that I already have. Like, I think Control, which is the same guys who did Alan Wake. Actually, I think Alan Wake is considered horror. Is it considered horror? Let me see. It's saying action adventure, but I know it is probably. Yeah, no, it's still considered horror. Or sorry, action adventure third person shooter. But yeah. So I do have that game as well to go through on 360. So who knows? So yeah. So a lot of stuff I'm sort of still looking at, but primarily getting 3D All Stars. Like I said, it just depends if I can get it this week. That's great. Because I want to get it before it becomes unavailable for even from Amazon. And then I'd be really scrambling trying to find a copy. Because Amazon is literally my last hope, basically. Unless I can figure out how to get a copy from the UK over here. And even if I did, would it even work on a North American system? So would I really want to spend $100+ on getting a game from Europe all the way over here just to have it not work, right? So it's not like I can just walk down to a corner store, right, game store, and test, right? So I have to definitely consider that. So I definitely want to get it before it becomes unavailable from Amazon and before the price goes even crazier than what it already is. But anyways, bye-bye.